Good morning.
Fantasmical. I'm doing fantastic.
Nice.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good.
Awesome.
Welcome. Happy Saturday.
Well, Ben, typically what we usually do here on this podcast is that we love to get all of our members in here and just tell us about their story. And so I guess the simple thing is, tell us about your story. Why is it that you have chosen CrossFit? Why did you choose Glen Burnie? Why is it that you feel that this is obviously a training regimen or a way in which you're going to work on your general overall health, well-being, and fitness?
Well, I was pretty fortunate really early on, pretty much right when I got out the house. I found CrossFit. I was in the Navy at the time, and I had actually found it in Japan, ironically.
Oh.
I was stationed up in Sasebo, and that's like a really tiny base that we have. And there was this couple that ran their own CrossFit thing at our base gym, and I had heard about it, and I had heard it was like one of the harder workout things to do, so I went to check it out. And right off the bat, pretty much, I caught the bug. It gave me this like familiar feeling of like the same way that we would work out in boot camp, where you work out to completion till you can't go anymore, and ever since then, I've just been finding a box here, finding a box there, trying to stick with it, because I know I can get the most out of an exercise if I do, a CrossFit exercise.
We always say that CrossFit's super global. You can do it anywhere. Any big differences between a box in Japan and a box here?
Well, it wasn't actually a box. It was just that couple, and it was kind of funny because, it's easy when you have your own place to do it, but we had to do it in like a regular, gym on base. Sure. And everybody used to get mad at us because we would take all the barbells and then we'd basically be like throwing them on the ground the whole time, and we'd be super loud. And but even with that being said, all the guys that would like give me crap for it, they would never give me too much because they'd see like, man, that guy's really, putting in the elbow grease there with that with workouts.
That's pretty cool.
It is nice to have like a real box with assault bikes and stuff, and not like a base gym to be doing it at.
So how long have you been doing CrossFit now?
It's been pretty much like 7 years now.
Jeez.
Wow.
I wouldn't say a straight consistent 7 years. I could probably chop it back down to like 5 between like times I've been away, but we'll go with 7.
We'll go with 7.
What keeps you coming back?
There's nothing else that can really match it. Like I can't, any other type of workout regimen I do, it's always lacking something. This is just like the complete circle of like the friendly competition and like the, betterment mindset that people have. You're just around like healthy minded people. So it's easy to, talk shop about, I eat this, I do that, this is how I handle this approach to things. Plus the WODs are just super fun. And you get that like addicting feeling of like knowing that you're getting better at it. Mm-hmm. I've been feeling that a lot here because the programming here is really nice. And over the 2 years that I've been here, I've been seeing like little things here and there that I'm like, man, I used to not be able to do that. Now that's like not even really a problem for me anymore.
That's fantastic.
What movie would you say is like really surprised? Like, man, I couldn't do that. And now like, oh, I'm totally confident I can do this and it's going to continue to improve. I'm
pretty solid on handstand push-ups now, which is a nice flex on people that don't do CrossFit. And chest to bars too. I used to be shaky with them, but now I could probably do butterflies if I practice them.
That's
I need
awesome.
to.
Nice. So do you have aspirations to want to compete, or is it just like I like to have fun, stay fit, and be around like-minded people?
I wouldn't put myself on like a fire breather competing level, but I did do one competition while I was here.
You did, yeah.
I did Granite Games way back when, and I wish I've been doing more, but just because of who you get as your partner and everything, it doesn't always work out. But I would like to stay competing just to keep myself on edge, Mm-hmm. And I'd like to stay with a box wherever I'm at, because this is like the place where I can go the most and I can enjoy exercising here.
Right. Are you going to be doing King of the Jungle?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna be doing it with
Chris. You have a partner?
Yeah, Chris Anderson.
Chris.
When this drops, you have to commit now. So.
Okay, I'm still trying to get my partner to commit too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just sign him up. Just don't give him the option to say no.
Yeah, there's something to that.
I've been seeing a lot of that one going around lately.
So, Ben, you said you were in the military, right? Or still are?
Still
are.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're in the Navy, is that right?
Correct.
Do you have any of your other sailors, if you will, that are interested in doing CrossFit, or do they look at you as like, oh, that guy's always talking about CrossFit?
You know what's funny? I try to never talk about it because I'm that guy that
You
will
are
just
that guy.
go on and on and on about whatever fad thing I'm into. There was a time when I was trying to be vegan too, so I was the vegan CrossFitter in the room, and that was, no one invited me anywhere. But I have one chief where I work at who ironically went to the same box as me when we were in San Diego. We just didn't know each other. And one day I saw his bumper sticker and I was like, hey, wait, you went to Kivnon? And he's like, that's where I know you from. But no, I don't think I'm good at selling it because I try to get people to come to, the Bring a Friend days, and I can never get anyone to go. But no one really lives as close to this place as I do either.
Oh, so this is like almost a second home.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm the only one in the military that's not from Fort Meade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't have anybody here that works at the academy, so I know for a fact if I come here, I won't see anyone from work. And that's that's what also keeps me coming back.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
so you're you made me think of something with the Navy folks. You talk about like not trying to be a salesman, or you're not good at not as good as selling it. But do you think that when you guys take annual fitness tests or semi-annual fitness tests, right? You think when you take those fitness tests and you really perform much better than those folks, or at least if you do perform much better than the folks, maybe that in itself is the way that you're selling. Like, hey, I'm doing this general fitness, or I'm doing this CrossFit here, and it allows me to be prepared for anything, right?
It would if more people in the Navy cared about their fitness, but they really don't.
Oh man,
There's a reason we're the fattest branch.
No,
we don't hold back.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean,
No
a lot of-
sugarcoating it.
Yeah, a lot of people that you see here are in the Army, and I know the Army they do I don't know what they do, ruck runs or something. They do a lot more physical stuff. We have PT Monday and Wednesday, and it's like the saddest PT in the world. Like, nobody wants to be there. We barely do that much. I try to get a workout out of it because I'd like to do 2-a-days, but the majority of people just don't really care. So that's the other problem with trying to get sailors to come to a box is like you can barely get them to go to a gym. So
So one thing I would kind of question I would have for Ben is, what would be, if you were able to change the PT, what would you make as a suggestion that would actually improve it or make it more valuable for folks?
Probably the type of things we test on. I mean, me and a couple other guys, we see how the Army has changed their fitness tests with more deadlifts and more seemingly functional things. Because for us, you do push-ups, sit-ups, and a 1.5-mile run. And that's not a very good test on how physically fit you are, because you could be good at those 3 things but not be fit at all. So I think if it was more functional things that you could imagine, okay, if I was on a ship and I had a full firefighting gear on and I had to carry somebody out of a space, how could you translate that into an exercise? Testing something for endurance and we're adding calorie rows, which I'm really happy about.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That's much better. So many people with bad knees in the Navy, or so they say. So if they can do rowing instead of running, it's just a better workout anyways, in my opinion.
Do you think there's any way to start changing that culture? Even
question.
like at work, kind
I was just thinking the same question.
Well,
yeah.
we've been trying. We have people that have been trying. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough thing to change.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really, realistically, when you do change a culture in any military installation, you got to do it painfully,
Right.
So I don't know. They've been trying, but this isn't really something that's up to me. It's not really something that I can do much about. I can just, try to have a positive outlook and try to tell people like, hey, we're on shore duty. It's nice to, get to the gym in the mornings.
I would think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rachel. You had a question.
Go ahead.
I was thinking like, I would think that the Navy in general would, because you're like, you guys call this shore duty, right? So you're not on ship, and obviously in the Navy, you got to be on a ship. Yeah. So I would think that being out on a ship where you're stuck around the ocean, that a small little box that enables you to get 1 hour of fitness in that covers a wide range of functional movements on a very condensed space would probably be in the best interest of the Navy to maybe even take on, right?
Well, it is. And when you are underway, that's like the gym is the only place that you can get where you don't have to be in uniform, and you can get your workout in, have your workout buddies. So on a ship, people care. At the place that I work at, people don't really care. But the problem with that too, when you're on a ship, it's like one of the most unhealthy places to be, because we get the best food they can give us, which is like below prison grade food, and then everybody's drinking like Red Bulls and Monsters constantly, and we have set like every day is a different theme for what we eat. So like Wednesdays are white trash Wednesdays, so you eat burgers and corn dogs and fries and stuff. So people just constantly take like the unhealthy food, and even the healthy stuff. We'll have like rotting salad on the mess deck, so it's hard to be healthy underway. Some people gain weight, some people lose weight, but in general, it's not like if you had an installation set up somewhere and you had a gym in like another branch, like the Marines or something.
Is that like a ship? I mean, like, is that a constant, like, no matter what ship you're on?
Kind of. I mean, with the quality of food, it's the same. It gets sent all to the same place. With the people that keep the food, it's up to them how clean they want to keep it. I've seen how they do it, and it's not that clean most of the time. So
Ben, you're letting all the secrets out of the ship.
I know.
Yeah,
letting all the secrets out.
Oh, it's not a secret. If you're in the Navy, it's not a secret. I'm getting mess decks food. There's a lot of times where people will just buy food out the ship store because it'll be a better option. So they'll just be eating like ramen constantly, which is also not good. You're getting like triple the sodium.
Yeah, you're getting triple sodium and all that. I think what you're highlighting is like a very, I've always believed that the military in general, this is, CrossFit. I was just talking about this with Brandon earlier this morning. CrossFit, as a training regiment, as a sport of CrossFit, right? The things that we do on a class basis, if you're not a competitor, the things that you do within that class, functional movement that's constantly varied executed at high intensity, those things will assist you and help you with general physical preparedness for anything. Absolutely. And the cultures that gravitated towards that earlier on, right, was the military, the firefighters, police department, EMTs, all those folks, because it's the requirement of our bodies to be able to lift another body somewhere else, right? It's the requirement of us to be able to go really fast, real hard, real quickly, right? And so I've always been intrigued by the culture in the military. I've been in for 20 years now, and the thing that I'm always surprised is that for 20 years that I've been in, it's always been about run, sit up, and push up. Yeah. And if you can run really fast, that means you're in shape. Well, no, I'm not a marathon runner. I'm not a sprinter. What I am is somebody that needs to be able to lift. And the special operations community for quite some time when they did start picking up CrossFit, they started noticing that the changes that were required were the other things of just general overall health and wellness for their bodies and their minds that enabled them to perform their duties, at a much higher level. Yeah. So I kind of wonder why, the military is so slow to turn at times.
Well, I think it is starting. I think it might be starting to turn more quickly than we think. Mm-hmm. But on that note, it's not all the branches.
Yeah, it's not all the branches,
the
Air
Army,
Force.
Air Forces, Army has their...
Starting to turn around a little bit,
Yeah, well, they've got their CrossFit competitive fitness team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And that's a tour that you guys get to do.
Shout out to Chandler Smith, by the
way. Absolutely.
Shout out to Chandler Smith. Tony Kerr's Masters athlete too. That's right.
All the service academies. Yeah. Most of them have a competitive CrossFit team now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's starting.
We have CrossFit at the academy.
Yeah, I know the Air Force Academy has it too.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just a college competitive thing.
But it's starting. It's there, and I don't know how to obviously get it to spread to the masses, especially when you're talking about, shore duty versus ship duty. That's a big difference. That's a big two different things that you really have to get into, but it's there. Mm-hmm. It's
being a positive influence and a positive role model, and how the impact of you not just doing CrossFit, but really taking your health and your fitness and your overall wellness seriously, right? Yeah. Because it's one of those things that I always think that, you got to start loving yourself a little bit more, right? Once you start loving yourself, you start realizing, like, oh man, like I'm really starting to take care of my body. I can really start taking care of a lot of other things. It's start from the core, and it branches out to the extremities of things. So, it's a bit strange right there. It's a bit loud. We picking up on the feedback.
Ooh, buddy.
These bikes are really powerful.
They sure are.
These are great.
Yeah, absolutely. What's another powerful thing, and this is the transition segue.
Look at that.
What's also powerful is the mindset. So the question, we always try to format it just a little bit, where we have a topic we'd like to talk to our members about within the gym. And the topic today I'd like to explore a little bit is mindset. Growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
And maybe within your life up to this point, or maybe as of recently, but how CrossFit has enabled you, or maybe enabled you, or highlighted, or maybe it's not CrossFit, but how your mindset is now as you're continuing to grow, how your mindset is and how you approach things, whether growth or fixed.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it was only like a week ago that I had heard this. Someone was talking about mindfulness, what you're talking about, and she was saying how you need to be careful of the words that you use to talk to yourself in your head, because you're the voice that you hear the most.
Yep.
And she said a long time ago, she was talking about family and how people will prioritize having to see their family, and they'll say, well, I have to go see my in-laws, I have to go see my niece and nephew. And if you just change one word and you say, I get to go see such and such. So I took that into account, and I started using that. And it's been making it way easier for me to get up and go and do things. So I'll say like, oh, I get to go do a WOD today. I don't have injuries. I don't have anything holding me back. I get to go do this open mic. I don't have to be scared about whatever, because there's always someone that can't do what you like to do. And then as far as the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, a long time ago, it kind of hit me that, I'm never going to be the best at whatever I try to do. But it's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Sure is. No, for sure is.
So
yeah.
I've been able to enjoy, like I was saying before, with the programming here, I've been able to enjoy seeing those little incremental changes.
Yeah.
And if you want to compare, this guy started here and now he's there, to yourself, that's gonna kill your motivation. But if you can say, 6 months ago I could only deadlift 300, now I could deadlift 350, something's working. Then that's a better way to kind of vault you forward into greatness.
I think that's beautiful.
That's beautiful, Ben. Look, that's as beautiful as the scenery we got in front of us.
I know.
Can we just talk about the fact that the trees are budding?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. We
have made it, y'all. Yeah. We have made it through winter.
Everything's coming back to life.
No, I think that's so powerful. Especially I like how you noted that, it's so easy to look at like things 10 months out, or, in big chunks. And it's like, well, yeah, that might be the end destination, but there's so many small little chunks that you can try to hit along the way, and then celebrate those along the way. Man. It's not just the long-term destination. It is, and celebrate when you get there, right? But if you're constantly focusing on that thing that's like 10 years out or whatever, however long it might take you to get there, you're going to miss all these small little things along the way that you can celebrate, and that you can celebrate with other people. And I think that's...
I still haven't hit my first muscle up, but when I do, I'm going to go over to that belt and I'm going to wring the crap out of it.
Absolutely, you are.
Right, that's right. Well, I actually applied not the fixed mindset this morning. I applied, I would say growth mindset for sure, but definitely a different mindset of how I approached the workout this morning. And I said I didn't give any attention, or at least I intentionally did not give the attention to the things that I could not control, such as what was it that I did today? So, example, well, I could control my muscle soreness. So the only thing I thought about in there was, well, if the workout happens and I start losing some fatigue, what are the things I can control if I just can't hold on to whatever it is? Well, I know what I can do is probably use a rep scheme that enables me to just keep moving forward rather than, oh man, I'm tired, right? Because once I start thinking in a workout that I'm tired, or like this sucks, or all these negative types of voices that happen.
Negative tapes.
Man, I'm telling you, once that starts happening, like then all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, I dropped the bar multiple times, right? And what's really crazy, maybe I'm just loco, I guess, but what's really crazy is then I'm able to set the tone, really set the tone for the rest of my day and the way I approach a lot of other things. And so I think that's kind of interesting how I'm kind of doing a bit of reverse to where I'm allowing my growth mindset to be set by the physical preparedness that I'm trying to put my body through. And then that enables me to then push forward in other aspects.
I had someone explain it to me once and I have no shame in saying I am I'm so hard on myself. So this is absolutely still something I work through consistently. But the biggest eye opener for me, I know you talked about have to versus get to, but it was these negative tapes that we play to ourselves over and over and over in our head, we don't even realize how consistently they are. So you start writing down some of those things that are you kind of tell yourself over and over and over in your head, and then you look at that and then you're like, well, would you want to tell this to somebody else?
Yeah.
Would you want someone else encouraging you that way, or what would you do if someone else told you that they were telling these things to themselves all the time? And more than likely, you'd be completely shocked by it. So just every time that you catch yourself on one of those negative tapes, write it down, look at it, and be like, is this really true? Am I really speaking truth to myself right now?
Yeah.
Or is this just a lie? And then, taking it and, maybe if you're writing it down, scratch it out, write it down differently. And that can apply to life, or that could apply to, even in a workout where it's oh, I can't pick up this bar right now. I can't pick up this bar right now. I'm too tired. Oh, my legs are too fatigued. Oh, I didn't eat enough today. Oh, I'm, right, and so on it goes, right? Well, actually, flip that around. Maybe you didn't eat enough that day, but you'll know next time, hey, I need to eat more next time. But hey, look how great I still did, even with that, even with that factor.
That's funny. I just did that yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, you did. You did do that.
I didn't eat enough yesterday, and I did awfully, but I still kind of made it.
No, you did.
I did good on the calorie.
No,
rose.
you did great. Yeah, you met within the prescribed intent of the workout yesterday. Yeah, so you did great. Even with what
was holding me back.
What was holding you back? At least what you thought was holding you back. Really,
yeah. Right.
So.
I used to get those negative tapes a lot in high school. I wasn't really good at managing it. I remember I didn't really do many sports, but track was one of the only ones I was able to stick with because that's straightforward, just run, And I remember I had an ex-girlfriend on the team that was friends with everybody, so she turned everyone against me. So I was alone on the CrossFit or the track team, and I was doing well at it. This is what sucked the most. I was actually doing well, and I was getting good at competing, but those negative tapes kept playing because it kept saying nobody wants you here. You're running terribly. You're too fatigued. Blah 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 blah, and it made me quit the team because I couldn't stand it.
Well, it's Rich Froning always says, there's the 10 movements of CrossFit, or 10 modalities. 10. It's in our L1. We should know this.
Oh yeah, it's
10.
It's strength, cardiovascular, stamina, flexibility, mobility.
Right.
Yeah,
all of those.
Yeah.
The 11th one should be what's between your ears.
Yeah.
It's not, if you read any type of, how champions think, how champions work, when you, especially at that level, right? When you reach that upper pinnacle of fitness or sports or whatever it is, it's not athletic ability. It's not talent. That's not what's setting these people apart between first, second, and third. It's what's between the ears. And
That's 60% of the battle right there.
Absolutely. And people are so quick to think oh, well, that just applies to sports, or that just applies to...
No, it applies to everything.
Right.
It applies to everything. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, once I love what I love is it's a simple thing. I just love the get versus I have to. That's probably the most simple thing to change in your vocabulary that then just reshapes the way in which you think about things, and more importantly, maybe even reshapes how you prioritize. Right. So every morning when I say I have to go to work. No, well, I get to go to work. Okay,
Right.
cool. So I'll go to work, and then, man, I have to do all these tasks. Well, no, I guess I get to do these tasks. Then I reshape and say, well, the tasks that I'm doing, what are the more important ones that's a whole different mindset, and then how you reshape how you approach a lot of difficult things in your life, or not difficult things, or just how you just view it and then bleed that out. I know my kids can't stand it because I'll catch them.
Oh,
I'll be
yeah.
the worst. My kids will say some stuff like, hold on, no, you get to, or
Yep.
hey, how about you just flip that negative around real quick?
Yeah.
You're just focusing, you're giving it the attention it really doesn't even require.
Yeah.
So
Even right now, I mean, just to pull it back to, real world events. And again, I'm just as guilty of this, with everything going around with Corona and everything getting canceled and shut down. And, I've seen a lot of people just being like, this stinks, like, da, da, da. But then I saw
Right.
someone post on social media the other day, and they're like, here's the things that I get to focus on now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, well, I get to spend more time with this person. I get to read more. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm working from home, I get to spend more time with my dog.
That's right.
Like, this is also a time, we're living history right now. We can either bury our heads in the sand and be like, well, this stinks. Look at all these things. We don't have a sports season, and we don't have this, we don't have that. Or we can sit here and be like, well, this is cool. Let's see where this goes.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
I think that goes back to having like a flexible attitude with everything. Because
Yeah.
there was a time when I would let all the inspections and all the long hours and stuff while I was on a ship get me down, and eventually something just kind of snapped in my head, and I realized like I don't need to be giving energy to this anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
And
yeah.
it didn't matter. No one could do anything to me. Well, I probably wouldn't be able to survive torture, but anything close to that, you could probably put me through like at least an hour of waterboarding before I'd be like, all right, I give. But changing your attitude about whatever it is that's going on, and kind of finding humor in it, and finding like some positivity, like something as simple as like, oh, I get to spend more time with my friends that work down here with me, or I get to get better at this thing at work that I wasn't so good at before, and this is going to have a positive turnout at the end of the day. Something like that. It's just something simple that you can use to try to make things better.
Well, that's not to say, just to everybody watching, right? This is not something that's easy.
No.
This is not something that
man.
just, it's like, oh, it just flips and then you're good,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean,
I think all of our
I
stories
watched the
show the
podcast
struggle.
yeah,
Right?
I mean,
And I just knew it.
yeah, I mean, I was super upset 2-3 days ago about something with coronavirus. It's like, but that doesn't mean, I'm not going to get up and still keep pressing and working on this mindset.
Yeah, your
you know?
awareness, your
Yes.
awareness of those
Yes.
things allows you to.
But that doesn't mean we don't struggle at it. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
we don't fail at it. It doesn't mean we don't mess it up.
I think it goes to willing things to yourself as well.
Right.
Because I work with people who they seem like everything bad happens to them, but they have the attitude of like, oh man, what's gonna happen to me at work today?
Right.
How is something gonna go horribly wrong? And something always inevitably goes horribly wrong. But I can do the same thing as them, and even if it does go horribly wrong, I can kind of like stifle it or prioritize and say, all right, we had a hiccup, let's move forward with it.
Yeah, one of the things I think about when you mention that is that when we start thinking about those things, like say for instance, you ever bought a brand new car and you thought, oh, I'm the only one with this car.
Yeah.
This is my only car. And then all of a sudden you see everybody's got the damn
Yep.
car on the road.
Yeah.
But you never noticed that everybody had the same car on the road as you did until you did. So when you start thinking about whatever we put in our minds to start beginning to think about or visualize or all those things, that's when we end up, they actually end up becoming a part of your reality, right? So flip that. Like
Yep.
that's crazy, right? And I just read something earlier this morning to set my own mindset in the morning time, where I read that there's a bunch of studies that show recently. I apologize for the audience, but I have to come back to you in the notes and figure out where those studies are. But
Yeah.
but like anywhere between 18 to 20% of these studies show 18 to 20% of people's mindsets actually end up changing their success in whatever it is. So if you go into it thinking, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be good enough, and this, you won't be as successful if you just say, no, I'm gonna be super good at this, or I'm gonna work super hard, or I'm gonna approach it this different way. It's totally cool. I think this is our sign too. The universe is telling us this is our sign here. We're reaching our time, and there's a bunch of things going on around us here. I think that the seal master, look at it, the seal master there is telling us. Well, the universe is telling us I think it's about time to close. Ben, any closing comments for our audience and for the CFGB members and out here? Appreciate you being our spotlight member today.
No, just get on the podcast if you can. Keep coming to CrossFit. You know, I feel like you guys already said it all. So
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Ben. Rachel, any closing comments for the audience today?
Not really. I mean, just keep trying. Every day, you know, every day is a chance to get 1% better. Every hour is a chance to get 1% better. So keep pushing.
Well, CFGB family out there, all the audience and the internets, the peoples in the internets, hey, stay humble, stay hungry, stay happy, be a great positive human being for the rest of the week. We'll see you guys next time on the CFGB podcast. Peace.